ethereal.com.
Peace, what up? This is Doc Blake with Ethereal TV, bringing you the 134th episode of The Last Piece to the Puzzle. The motto for me is silver, gold, and cryptos equals freedom, because they are decentralized assets and they're going to play an important part in the immediate, the short term, and the long term futures. And let's take a look at the cover art. We have a spaceship. We have a city that looks like it's being built on top of the Bitcoin logo. We have some words that say a whole world built on top of Bitcoin. And we also have, some Bitcoins just floating around and stuff like that. So let's put this puzzle together. What am I talking about? We're going to get into that, but not quite yet. Of course, first we're going to do the price action. Let's give it a live refresh during the recording of this video, because obviously this video is not done live. But currently, we have Bitcoin sitting at $62,403. Ethereum is at $3,430. Let me see what else is worth mentioning. My coin of 2024, Polygon, is at $1.02, also known as Matic. Let me see. We have Optimism. I actually also got the Optimism airdrop back then, and that's at $3.75. Another coin that I really like is Theta. I do still love some Theta. I have a bunch of stuff in Theta, and Theta's been on a tear recently. It's back over $2. It's at $2.02. And what's another one I'm looking for? Arbitrum is at $1.99, which is another roll-up that's built on top of Ethereum. And as this show continues to go on, we've been at it for a while now. Like I said, this is my 134th episode. I might start talking about some airdrops that some people might be interested in, but we'll get into that later. But that's all the tokens I'm going to give you for right now. Once again, Polygon is my play for 2024. Let's take a look at the silver and gold prices. Currently, we have gold at $2,094. Still at an all-time high. So if you've been following the motto of this show, you are up. Silver is still being suppressed. It's the most suppressed asset in the world, by far. Silver is at $23.33. You know why? There's a guy named Big Swir who I've been listening to for many years. He says silver is the real bank killer. Everything will change when silver is allowed to run free. Therefore, the price of silver must be suppressed. So, and I believe that. So, go check out his channel. I believe it's The Road to Ruta on YouTube. Very good information. I'm just here to put y'all in the right direction, help you understand what's going on. Let's do our charting. I'm going to give this a refresh because I'm recording from an American IP address, and it's funny because America doesn't allow me to get live updated information on crypto while I'm charting on Binance. But we know America and Binance are beefing right now, so I don't know what's going on, but some shady stuff that I can't even get a live feed on the price action on Binance. But as you might remember from last video, I was talking about this megaphone pattern, and we're at the top. I think last video we were at I don't know, I forget where I was, but I know we were at the top of this. So I haven't moved any lines. This is the same chart from last time, but you see that we are looking to break out of this, which I think the percentages are in above 50% that we will, meaning that there's more chances that we will break out of this than to get rejected and come all the way back down to 45,000, which people like me are hoping that we get down to 45,000. But it's about who's buying right now. I believe the big girls and guys are buying. The institutionals have stepped in, and if they're just buying their coins, it's going to be scary what can happen. It's going to be scary what can happen with the price of Bitcoin. It's not going to make sense to people. They're not going to know what's going on. But this is all theoretical. Let's remember, I did my last video about the similarities of 2020 and 2024, so we have to remain level-headed here, because what happened in 2020? Bitcoin was on a nice little run up to like 7 or 8 grand, and then bam, COVID hit and took it all the way back down to 3 grand, which was like 100, or 50% of its price, or 75% of its price. So can we see another black swan event? Because I think that's the only thing that's going to stop Bitcoin right now, is a black swan event, which I'd rather personally it be called a white swan event. Why does everything bad have to be black? Tired of that, but nah, I'm just joking. It's another discussion, right? Another discussion for another day. But like I said, yeah, we're pushing at the top of this pattern. The lines have been drawn perfect, and that's where we are right now. So like I said, most likely we're going to break up, more likely than breaking back down, which hopefully we would get to retest the bottom of this megaphone pattern. Unlikely though. Why? Like I said, it's all about who's buying. I just read a report that $1 billion worth of Bitcoin was pulled off in one day by one buyer off of Coinbase, y'all. That's what caused Coinbase to go down. I know everybody's like, oh, that's a sign that it's the bull market, is when Coinbase crashes. Well, guess what? Coinbase officially crashed. Do they have the coins? Of course Coinbase does. Do they have to go through a process to get those coins out when you have such a mega buyer? And just think, if people are buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin on Coinbase, that means it was unavailable. It was unfreaking available over the counter, y'all. It was unfreaking available over the counter. They had to go to Coinbase to get those coins right now. Who bought them? I don't know. We'll never know. But the fact that they were bought, and not just bought, they were bought and pulled off the Coinbase network into a cold wallet. I mean, do you need more evidence? I know this sounds like crazy jargon what I'm talking about, but if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you need to know, and if you're just new, you need to understand how significant that is, that much Bitcoin is being pulled off an exchange to potentially never be seen again until somebody's ready to spend it. So that's really amazing stuff in my opinion. Let me see what I have else on my list today. Let's go back to the cover art. Today's gonna kind of be like, not a rant. I'm just going to be talking. I looked for articles that explain this. I didn't really see any. I don't know if anybody is talking about what I'm about to mention personally. It's on a next level, back to the future, or from the past to the future type talk. You know what I mean? Like putting the real pieces of the puzzle together, which is what I'm here to do, is to put the pieces of the puzzle together. This is what I've been doing my whole life. This is what I was ordained to do by the people that sent me here on planet Earth, all right? To put the pieces of the puzzle together, and let's change the freaking world and make it a better place. I'm going to put the pieces of the puzzle together, all right? So we have a whole world built on top of Bitcoin. What do I mean? Well, this is going to lead up to my next video, which is going to be about free energy. But let's start at the basis of what I'm talking about. So first, we unfortunately have to start talking about the financial system. What is going to happen with the financial system? Well, the financial system is going to be built on top of Bitcoin. Why? It's not me that needs Bitcoin. I don't send money across the world, and I don't ask people to not ask questions when I'm sending money across the world. But for those that do, and who send large amounts of money, they're the ones that really want Bitcoin. They want to be able to send millions and billions of dollars across the world to anywhere they want without having to talk to a banker, without having to talk to an institution, without having to pay fees to this bank and that bank and everyone else that wants to cut into your Bitcoin or whatever, or your money at in this case your dollar bills. They want their portion. Every country wants their portion for you sending that type of money or any money across the world. They want their cut. Well, Bitcoin, with the Bitcoin network, you only got to cut in one cut, and that's the miners that are mining Bitcoin, which is all a mathematical protocol. You don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to go to the bank and say, I want $100,000, and they're going to say, why do you want this $100,000? You don't got to answer those questions. You think it's me that needs Bitcoin? You think I'm on that level? I'm not. I'm trying to get to that level like we all are, but I'm not there yet. But this conversation leads up to something bigger, to something brighter, to something that can even stop war. All right? This can stop war, and let me explain why. All right. So first, we need to, the world of finances, we need to start out small. So the world of finances is moving to being built on top of Bitcoin. What does that mean? That means every transaction, not every transaction, obviously there's going to be other cryptos, there's going to be other ways to trade. That's necessary. But the most valuable and most important way to trade energy, we're talking about a transaction of finances is a transaction of energy. Let's say you're buying an artist's paintwork, right? You're buying an artist's picture that they painted. So I'm trading energy for energy that they put into the painting, right? Some of these painters, they spend months, days, years on their artwork, right? We need a proper evaluation system to give them what they properly deserve for the time and energy that they put in, right? This is where Bitcoin comes into play. Why? Because Bitcoin is a hard asset. It's the hardest asset that we've ever experienced on planet Earth. What does a hard asset mean? It can't be printed overnight. There can't be somebody who says, let's send Ukraine $1 million of money that we just created in a computer system by adding zeros to a screen. That's not how Bitcoin works. You need to really, really dive deep into understanding what Bitcoin is and how it works. It's programmable internet money that's a fixed supply. Programmable internet money that is a fixed supply. There will only be 21 million Bitcoin, and we're not even there yet. What's going to happen in April is the halving event, which I've done. Go back and check my videos. I actually did a live broadcast during the last halving event and talked about that, right? So this halving event, I probably will do the same thing, hopefully, Lord willing, depending on when it happens, if I'm not at work, etc., etc. We'll see how it goes down. But that's not important. The important part is you're understanding and picking up what I'm putting down, all right? So Bitcoin is going to be the foundational level, a layer of finances, meaning all types of coins, cryptos, and everything, protocols will be built on top of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin will be the reserve currency of the world, and this is why your central banks are so scared. Yes, Bitcoin is slow. It's slow to transact. That's the base layer is, but that's okay. Like I said, there's going to be ways and programmers that can get around that, right? People thought people were crazy when they said we're going to make communication worldwide. We're going to make signals that can be broadcasted from America to China on these types of networks. People thought people were crazy. So that's where we're at with Bitcoin, where it's like, oh, Bitcoin's too slow. You can't buy a cup of coffee with it. Yes, you can. And there's going to be layers and layers and layers built so that you can, if you so choose to, because there will be other ways to transact. So this is where we're leading to. We're leading to a world where a hard money, that's the important part. The takeaway is we're using a hard money, meaning we can't just fund wars with magic money that we print out of thin air. What do you think is funding the war in Ukraine? What do you think is funding the war in Israel and the Hamas, right? What is funding this? Your hard-earned tax dollars is what's funding it, right? Your hard-paid tax dollars are what's funding these wars. American dollar, US dollar, fiat currencies across the world are what's funding these wars. If you had to fund it with gold and silver, we probably wouldn't even have war like that because people aren't willing to pay for it. War must be paid for. These are concepts you must understand. When war needs to be paid for, people aren't going to do it. People aren't going to do it. But when you can make something out of thin air and they can buy guns, when you can make something out of thin air and people are willing to build missiles for it, just to have it, because it can get them anything in the world that they desire. Let's think about it. We have a magical money that can get people anything in the world they desire. And the people who run it are printing out of the wazoo. They just print and print and print and give it to who they want. Well, most of the people they want to give it to, these central bankers, aren't good people. They're the people who are going to use it to kill, to start wars. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. This is huge. And if humanity has any chance of changing this thing around without the intervention of Jesus Christ or whoever people believe in, or God, it's going to take things like crypto. It's going to take things like Bitcoin if we truly want to make this a better world. You can't have people using anything to go start wars with. If you do want to start a war, you're going to have to give up all your gold and silver, and people aren't going to be willing to do that. But when you can tell a country, oh, you can just print this magical stuff out of thin air and you can go kill people with it and buy guns and drop bombs with it and do anything you want and buy as many pounds of cocaine and prostitutes, just like our CIA got caught doing. Think about it, man. Think about it. Put the pieces of the puzzle together. Bitcoin doesn't work like that. It takes a lot of energy to produce Bitcoin. Energy is not cheap. It's not expensive. And we're about to get into how Bitcoin will eventually lead to free energy. But first, let's stop and take a visit and read what a central bank is. Straight off of Google, I typed in a central bank. I typed in central banks. A central bank is the term used to describe the authority responsible for policies that affect a country's supply of money and credit, which people love is credit. So your credit is directly affected or created by a central bank. This is what's all going to change with Bitcoin. All right. No one can control the Bitcoin network. They can control the USD price, but they can't control the network. It's a freely open source mined asset. A freely open source mined asset. I know I'm repeating words, but these are essentials, and this is what you need to take away to understand what's going on. Why your central bankers and your governments don't like Bitcoin, but they're the ones that are causing the price to go up. Like I said, the rich people still have their own personal lives. Your politicians, they go in the category of rich people, and they have their personal lives. They want to live their personal lives and buy their yachts without their own government even asking questions. Think about that. Think about your politicians, and they're humans too. They can be touched physically, all right? They have to go through loopholes and all these things if they want to be corrupt. All right, they don't want to have to ask permission for them to be corrupt. They still have to, because there's a force that's still righteous and good in this world. We're still fighting for freedom. We're still fighting for righteousness in this world. We haven't given up yet. That's what I love about my fellow human beings, is that we have not given up. All right, and that's what scares them the most, is that there's still people fighting for righteousness. There's still people fighting for justice. All right, so the central bank is what controls the money. Think about what money controls. You think 12% of homeless people, all right, let's go back to previous things. Homelessness increased 12% from 2022 to 2023. Reports say homelessness is the biggest killer in the world right now. If you're homeless, you're more likely to die. You think they don't want people to be homeless? Think about it, all right? 12%, the largest in 1 year homelessness increase we've seen ever. So we can't deny just how important finances have become, right? And your central bank controls this. So who's the mastermind behind why so many more people became homeless? Take a guess. The central banks. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever she or he or the organization that it was, created a protocol underneath in the shadows that is becoming what it was meant to become. People say Bitcoin's not becoming what it's meant to become. Yes, it is. It is a peer-to-peer cash system. Because you can't transact for a cup of coffee in 2 seconds doesn't mean it doesn't work. Slow the fuck down. Drink the coffee and watch the Bitcoin transaction go through, man. Y'all are too crazy with it. Like, you're saying it needs to work like the Swift banking system. Well, guess what? The Swift banking system can close your account today. No one can close your Bitcoin wallet. It will never be done. It's not the way the protocol was designed, with math to back it. There's two things I have faith in. My God and my Lord and Savior, and mathematics, okay? And Bitcoin is built on top of mathematics. That's the beautiful part of it. We don't need central bankers to tell us what we can and can't freaking do. All right? If you want to do it, if you want to trade somebody something and they're willing to give you what they worked hard to and trade it for, then so be it. Then so be it. No one can stop that. That's the concept of Bitcoin. And they just can't print it out of thin air. It takes energy and time to mine a Bitcoin. And still, since USD has value, it takes money. Now, let's talk about the last part. How can Bitcoin make energy free? So let's talk about it. Bitcoin now, mining Bitcoin produces heat. Mining Bitcoin uses energy. What I see the future being built upon is generators that not only produce power for the grid, for your electricity, for the lights in your home, for the TVs that you watch, for the cellular devices that you need to charge. These generators will be also producing Bitcoin, the foundational layer of the financial system throughout the entire world. All right? So when we get to the level, which might be, I might be dead by then. Who knows? It could be 20, 30, 40, 100 years before this happens, right? But think about it. Hundreds of years ago, you had ancestors here that allowed you to be here now. And look where we're at now. So hundreds of years from now, we're going to have ancestors. They might be younger than us, or in Earth terms, but they're going to be here. And they're going to be witnessing the Nikola Tesla vision of free energy. To have free energy, it must produce something that people are willing to transact their hard-earned energy for. And that, my friends, is Bitcoin. So when we have electrical grids and generators that use coal and things and fuel to produce energy, those same electrical grids will be mining Bitcoin. And this will be authorized and made mandatory by the people. The people will say, I'm not going to pay an electric company that isn't producing Bitcoin. Right? Because the Bitcoin is how people are transacting energy. So when Bitcoin is how people are transacting energy, and the energy companies produce Bitcoin by using Mother Earth's resources to produce energy, the generators and the electric companies, which will no longer be owned by companies, they will be owned by the people who deserve to own them, which is the taxpayer or the actual people of the planet. All right? This is how the future takes place. This is why I have a spaceship in my cover art. This is how it transpires. When you have generators that produce electricity, producing monetary currency that's going to be used for people to transact whatever it is, whether they worked hard on their garden, whether they're a carpenter, whether they worked hard on their art piece. All right? This is where we're leading to. But you have to think long term. I might not be here for this. I might be here for this. Depending how fast we can wake up as a people, how fast the revolution can truly happen. I love transacting with people. I would love to trade crystals and gold and silver for the things that I need in life. All right? It's not US dollars. It's not the way. And it's quickly and rapidly being realized by the rest of the world. America will be the last people on this boat besides the rich Americans, because they're the ones buying up all the Bitcoin. That's all I have for y'all today, man. I know this was kind of rantish, and it was a rant. I am ranting, but we need to be angry. We need people that are going to be mad with the state of affairs on the planet. And who's the mastermind behind it all? Your central banks and your fiat currencies. And who's controlling the fiat currencies is your central bank. The governments are more peons. The politicians we choose to put in place, of course, they're corrupt. This is your boy Doc Blake with Ethereal TV. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.